Byron Scott, Jack Morris.
Mark was battling back and forth, trying to get back into the rotation, you know, fighting his injury, and it was his day to pitch.
Tiger baseball at Tiger Stadium on a bright, sunshiny Saturday.
Fred Glading, our major league pitching coach, came up to me and he yells at me frantically, "Get your spikes on, get ready, you're pitching. Get ready, now."
There has just been announced a change in the pitching for the Tigers. Mark Fidrych has been scratched at the last moment, and Jack Morris will be making his 1978 debut as a Tiger pitcher. We have just getting the announcement right now.
Everybody stood up and booed. I mean, I got a standing boo. This is my first start at Tiger Stadium. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be a wonderful place for me to fit in.
In a 24-month span, the Tigers drafted 9 future All-Stars.
Leading off, Ron LaFleur.
First baseman, Jason Thompson.
Left fielder, Steve Kemp.
Included was a shortstop from San Diego, a second baseman from rural Virginia. They would stay in lockstep for 19 record-setting seasons. And a brawny catcher from L.A. who once drew an off-season assignment as Tina Turner's bodyguard. On the diamond, Lance Parrish formed a strong bond with his minor league skipper.
Les Moss was an important figure in my life, trying to turn me into a halfway decent catcher. A great teacher, knew the game inside out. I watched him work with everybody and anybody.
Moss's steady hand and a young Jim Leyland's tough love were forces in the Tigers system. Then Les Moss landed his dream job as new manager of the Detroit Tigers for 1979.
I was very excited when I found out because I felt it was very well deserved. He's a great manager. I thought he fit right in because the nucleus of our team was coming up.
But there was one problem with Les Moss that Jim Campbell, then the general manager, should have anticipated. Les was quiet as a mouse. And at this point, when you needed someone to really be a ramrod, someone to incorporate fury into these guys, Les Moss was not going to be that guy.
And Anderson's still boiling.
Yes, he is. He is hot under the collar.
The Big Red Machine with Sparky Anderson leading the way were the standard bearers of excellence in the 1970s.
You had incredible egos on that baseball team. Sparky, he was able to make them understand that whatever their differences were when they went on the field, all that crap had to be put aside.
Get out of here! Get out of here! Boys, I got news for you. We're going to be world champions again, Sugar Bear. I got news for you. We are now going to be world champions again.
Congratulations, Spark. Tony, thank you. But the proudest I think I am of this club is, and they got more class than any other baseball team has ever had.
But Sparky was inexplicably fired after the Reds won 92 games in 1978. Worse for him, it happened on November 28th, leaving him in limbo as the 1979 season got underway. By June, however, the Chicago Cubs were zeroing in.
And Milt Wilcox came down and he goes, "Did you hear the news?" I went, "What?" He goes, "They hired Sparky Anderson." Milt paid for him for Cincinnati Reds. He goes, "You better behave, Rose, because he will ship your ass out." I'm going, "Really?"
The managerial debut of Sparky Anderson with the Detroit Tigers.
It rocked Detroit, it rocked Michigan, it rocked baseball.
The first word that comes to mind is I was a little confused, and I'm not sure exactly how everybody else felt.
Well, actually, I was extremely disappointed. And I just felt like that Les had gotten a raw deal. We just come back from the West Coast in June, and I think we had just gotten over 500. And all of a sudden, I find out that Les got fired.
As you say, we were doing pretty good as a team.
And I felt bad for Les because I don't think he did anything really wrong, but Sparky was available, and lo and behold, you know, here comes Sparky.
I thought it was kind of ironic or interesting that he predicted that in 5 years that we were going to be world champions, and bingo, it happened. So, you know, I guess he's became somewhat of a sage in that regard.
You have accounted for more touchdowns than anybody in college football history, more total yards than any man in college football history.
I've always been the guy that really hasn't worried that much about stats and what's going on. All I care about really is winning.
It is third down and goal to go. Leach.
Only 24 days apart, these rival matinee idols with multi-sport dimension were destined for the NFL.
Kirk Gibson and Rick Leach, the fact that their identity was so tied to football made the ultimate move to the Tigers seem all the more crazy.
You two finally do get together, perhaps here in Tiger Stadium one day soon.
Now we know we just both got a lot of work that we got to do, but both of us, like you said, are competitors. We're going to do the best we can to get here.
You know, I know he's a winner, and I'm a winner, I think, and I hope that someday we can end up in the same outfield. It'd be great to win a World Series. I think that's what we're looking at, all right?
They brought a different mentality and the intensity, especially that Gibby brought. It was unlike no other. And to this day, I've never met anybody like Kirk Gibson.
We heard about this football player from Michigan State that was going to take BP. He was hitting balls against the facing of the upper deck and hitting a few balls up on the roof, and he was crushing balls, hand strength off the charts.
Gibson was in another realm, and Leach, while he was smoother and more of a rounded player, he was not on the level of magnificence of Gibson.
If there was anybody who ever wanted to be in the heart of the game and wanted the game to be centered around him, it was Gibby.
One out, bases empty, and the 2-1 pitch to Gibson. There's a belt, that's gone. Let's watch it. Where is it? Is it out of the park? Yes, it's out of Tiger Stadium. Kirk Gibson has done it. He got it over the roof in right field, over the third deck, out of this ballpark.
The thing about Gibby's ball, I remember it so well, it just disappeared. It didn't have any arc to it. It just went out into the night and disappeared.
And I heard on the radio the announcer saying, "Where is it?" And I glanced over, and I looked at the lumber yard, and I happened to catch the ball hit right over there on top of the roof, bounced off that wall over there, ricocheted in the lumber piles.
They're still standing here at Tiger Stadium. A gigantic blast.
And this is the ball.
Situation. But I knew that the Tigers had lost to Baltimore in '83, and when I walked into spring training, they're pissed. They're upset that they didn't win last year. And that was the best sign because they were on a mission. I was welcomed for sure. Man, it was the best decision I ever made in my life, I think.
Darrell Evans came from a deep-rooted Pasadena baseball family. His mother, Eleanor Salazar, played 10 years of professional softball. His grandfather pitched against Babe Ruth in barnstorming stops.
Who beat Babe Ruth's home run record? That was the most important moment in baseball. I was hitting third. You know, I was hitting in front of him.
And the 2-out pitch on the way is a ground ball behind second. That's where Russell is, and he flips the ball to right.
I'm the only one that could say that was on base.
Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
One of the biggest moments ever, and you get to be a part of it. But pretty incredible.
I was a great outfielder. I always throw hard from the outfield. That's why my arm was so strong. I only pitched about 7 or 8 games in semi-pro, and I get to sign. I never pitched more than that.
He was almost cloaked in secrecy.
Willie Hernandez was relegated into the shadow of premier closers Bruce Sutter and Lee Smith.
Sparky Anderson knew, and Sparky knew a lot of things. Sparky was really good, and Sparky was usually ahead of the game.
Willie Hernandez, the new pitcher, left-hander who came over from the Cubs. Swung on and missed. So Hernandez silently does a perfect job in relief.
I'll never forget, in March of '84, the day that they completed that trade with the Phillies to bring Willie Hernandez, I said to myself instantly upon the bulletin arriving, the Tigers just won the World Series.
Hello
again, everyone, and welcome to the Metrodome in Minnesota. It's opening day of the baseball season. There's been several games played during the afternoon. The Tigers opening here in just a couple of moments.
They plugged a couple of holes as far as getting Hernandez in the bullpen. I think the team looks great. I think they're ready to have a good year.
And a drive hit deep into right, way back, and this one's gone, way back. Hernandez gets them 1, 2, 3.
A cold afternoon in Chicago. Jack Morris has been a very hot pitcher.
He's putting on some kind of show today.
Got him swinging, and he has his no-hitter.
He swings and there it goes. Oh, upper deck home run. Kurt Gibson got it all.
Opening day at home. Never been at Tiger Stadium. And I hit a 3-run homer the first to that.
Welcome to Tiger Stadium's Darrell Evans.
Come on, you can't even pretend to dream that kind of stuff.
There's a hard smash to White at second. Off it. He picks it up. Can't pick it up. A run scores. The Tigers have won their 9th in a row.
Fly ball.
And the Tigers win the game.
And a curve, and he got him. The Tigers do it again.
Another one in the win column for the Tigers.
This doesn't happen in Little League. This doesn't happen in high school. This is silly stuff. How could it be happening in the major leagues?
Sparky, he had the magic touch. Whatever he did, whatever lineup he put, something good happened.
An amazing streak just keeps on keeping on.
The coolest thing about that whole run is we won 17 games in a row to start the season on the road. That was pretty remarkable.
You got off the bus, got off the plane, you knew that you were going to win the game.
She got him on strike. Here's a swing and a fly ball. He won't get it. It's a grand slam.
We were packing stadiums. Everybody was there.
Pitch is swung on, fly ball left field deep. It's gone! A home run for Parrish. Swing and a miss, and the Tigers win another one. What a team.
Quite a scene here in the Big A in Anaheim with a huge standing O on still another sweep.
You get a standing ovation from the visiting fans.
It's incredible, but it happened.
I remember in Anaheim, went back to the hotel, and I was sitting there just, reflecting, going, we've just played 40 games at the major league level, and we've won 35 of them, which is unheard of.
It was the greatest 40-game start the game has ever seen. But there was one problem.
Toronto. The Blue Jays were not going away.
That'll score outside. That'll score Bell. 3 RBIs.
They had the second best record in baseball.
People don't remember is even though we got off to a 35-5 start, they were really playing great baseball.
Toronto, bursting with talent, came to Tiger Stadium in June for a showdown series. And of everyone on the Detroit Tigers, it was an unsung player who provided the pivotal moment of the season.
This is your first look at Dave Bergman on a TV interview.
Dave Bergman was a great friend, would tell you the honest God's truth if you were good or you were bad and indifferent. He was just a good teammate.
I don't know, I just basically try to go out there and do my job, and I keep my mouth shut and just play hard.
Toronto had the Tigers on their heels until Howard Johnson's 7th-inning blast.
I think a huge turning point in the Tigers' battle against Toronto came in the Dave Bergman's 13-pitch at-bat off Roy Lee Jackson.
When Bergman came to the plate, we knew that he hadn't hit any home runs to that point. Bergie and we were having a conversation during the at-bat. Boy, isn't this fun? What a great, exciting series this has been. The atmosphere was great. And then he started to foul off a pitch or two.
2 out. 10th inning. Foul away.
And I'd say, man, I don't know how you got to that one. So we're going to have to think about something else. And then he'd take another hack at one, and he'd foul another to pitch off. And I said, come on, Bergie, you got to miss one of these. And we were talking back and forth, and it was really a cool moment.
3-2 pitch upcoming with the runners going, and another pitch is fouled away.
And then, of course, as the at-bat went along, we started thinking, how are we going to end this thing? And sure enough, he would end it by hitting the one in the upper deck.
3-2 pitch is in high in the air, deep right field, and she is gone. The old 3-run
Sparky said it was the greatest at-bat he ever saw. I would say it was the greatest at-bat I ever saw also.
And it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I mean, Dave Bergman was one of those guys that just helped everybody come together.
That clubhouse could be a little bit rancorous. I think Bergman and Evans, without even trying, they just sort of brought the temperature down a little bit and cooled things out for a few people. People like Gibson and Morris, who were, at that time, hotheads.
But Jack's sizzling heat on the mound remained unaltered. And by '84, he mastered the forkball.
So what the hitter sees is fastball delivery, and yet it's changeup curveball.
Young Dan Petrie was a perfect complement to Cactus Jack. And a steady number 3, Milt Wilcox. Detroit pitchers stymied American League hitters. And there were 2 late-inning maestros.
Senor Smoke, Aurelio Lopez, he was, for me, he's just like a magician.
Swing and a miss.
Willie Hernandez was just absolutely phenomenal.
Back in the left field, and he makes the catch. Game's over, the Tigers won it.
Every time he was called upon, he was perfection.
Swing and a miss, struck him out.
Hernandez does a masterful job.
The greatest thing about Lance was just the physical presence.
For the second. Out. The throw from Parrish. He's out of there.
I'll tell you, that Parrish has put on some show.
Lance Parrish, in those days when you were colliding with catchers at home plate, that was one of the guys you tried to avoid.
Oh, I'll tell you, Parrish threw a seed.
The double play combination of Alan Trammell and Luke Whitaker, to me, is the greatest double play combination in the history of the sport of baseball.
Could be a double play. Whitaker to Trammell and back to first.
To us, they were 2 guys as one.
This might be 2. Trammell scoops it over to Luke for the first double play.
Trammell and Whitaker, 2 guys that could just pick. They both had great arms. They could cover so much territory.
He may have been the best defensive fielder of our generation. He made everything textbook.
Sweet Lou was quiet, and he was elegant, almost regal.
And you didn't want to end them up at all. Those 2 guys, especially in big situations, because they were going to put the ball in play with potential hitting it out of the ballpark.
That one is long gone.
Bless you, boys.
I just remember Bless You Boys. That was sort of the theme. A sportscaster in Detroit, Al Ackerman, on Channel 4 had started the phrase Bless You Boys almost as sarcasm when they would lose in prior years. And then it turned into sort of a phrase of celebration.
But I am picking you. The new slogan, Sparky, is Bless You Boys. This is the year. I'm with you. Put me on your list, and I'll pick us too.
Bless you, boys, because we are family of the fans.
They started winning, and Bless You Boys, he couldn't do a newscast or a sportscast without saying it.
Bless you, boys. This is the year. Remember the new battle cry.
All I can say is, bless you, boys.
The waves. The waves.
It was a sound, a sight, unlike any other place. And the wave, because of the double-deck stadium that would rim around there, just the roar, it really truly sounded that way, like maybe it was a car engine or a tiger, all these different Detroit motifs.
And that old Tiger Stadium, there was nothing better than going down there and seeing that place rocking and rolling and 30, 40, 50,000 in that place. That's just some memories that I carry with me that are just cherished.
You know, winning is a wonderful feeling, and it starts at the ballpark or the stadium, and it just ripples out. And so not only is the team victorious, but the fans become victorious.
It is a picture-perfect night in Detroit. And if you want a festive atmosphere and you can't find it on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull tonight, you're just not looking.
A September call-up was told to circle the 18th. The stars aligned for him.
Randy O'Neal was the selection of Sparky Anderson to go for the winner.
Dan Petrie was ready to go. Jack Morris was ready to go. Neither of them got the call, and they weren't really happy about it either.
The way you pitched through the course of this season, you and Jack Morris, does it disappoint you just a little bit not to have a chance to pinch that clincher?
Yeah, I think both of us wanted it. You know, it was hard at first accepting missing a start. When you come to the ballpark and the fans are excited, and now I know I'm not going to be in the ball game, but I know it's going to be a very exciting night, and I just hope we can do it tonight.
That day, I went to the mall and I walked around for about 5 hours to get away from everything and not think so much about the game. But when you flip on the radio and you hear, who is this guy? Why is he on there? You know, why isn't Morris starting? Why isn't Petrie starting? So you get a little nervous, but I wanted to show everybody where they would remember my name after that.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
He's shown us a very fine job, able to handle pressure.
This is an Eyewitness News special report.
I'm Frederick Cloud live at Tiger Stadium, where the Tigers are getting awfully close to crunching it. They're 3 outs away. They now lead the Milwaukee Brewers by a score of 3-0. A base hit there by Lance Parrish made it 2-0. The story tonight has been O'Neill, the rookie, who shut out the Brewers in 7 innings of work tonight. He stands to be the winner. The Tigers again just 3 outs away from clinching the American League East.
Willie Hernandez. It's over!
The Tigers had gone wire to wire.
A sensational pitching job by Randy O'Neill as the Tigers clinch the 1984 American League East Championship.
Everybody in the street, everybody in the stadium, the only thing that you'll hear is, bless you, boys. We was blessed that year. Yeah.
It gives me a lot of confidence. You know, I think that's the main thing. Say something like that, it gives me confidence to know that I can go out and do a job. I had a start left before the postseason started, and I was going for my 20th win, and Sparky yanked me out of the game because he said, hey, we need you ready for the postseason. And it's like, yeah, I'll be ready. Just let me win 20. And he goes, you had your chance. And I thought it was a perfect answer.
It is a beautiful, cloudless, windless night here live at Royal Stadium for Game 1, the Detroit Tigers against the Kansas City Royals.
Jack's 20th came soon enough.
Strike Sheridan out. That's called strike 3. That's got a chance. He's hit it out of here. A triple and a home run for Alan Trammell.
In Game 2, the Tigers pounced early on the Royals.
3 balls and 2 strikes. And all the way back goes Wilson. That ball is gone.
Kirk Gibson with Dan Petrie's solid pitching. But Kansas City pulled to within 1 as Hernandez started the 8th inning.
And he rips it to left field and into the corner for extra bases. The game is stopped.
We had a bench. That's what I always go back to. We had about 7 guys that could come off the bench and get the job done in the clutch.
Now Evans is at second. Jones is at first. And Grubb is the batter.
There's a drive toward right center field. Wilson on the run. It's over his head at the base of the wall. Here comes one man home. Evans. Right behind him is Rupert Jones on the double by Johnny Grubb.
A Motown clincher was for the taking. And in the 2nd inning, the Tigers scratched out their only run of the game.
That's grounded down to short. Concepcion to White and back to first. Not in time. Lemon has scored.
Milt Wilcox, a 20-year-old playoff rookie for Sparky's Reds, was working with the slimmest of margins.
And down he goes. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3.
You know, he was just motoring through everybody.
He cuts and misses. Struck him out. That's number 6 for Wilcox. 4 in a row. Here's the kick. The pitch to Wilson. He struck him out swinging.
Swing, a ground ball. Knocked down by Evans. The race for the bag, and he is out at first base. Willie Hernandez, the man they've gone to all season. Popped up in foul ground and playable, and the Tigers win the pennant.
Milt's finest hour.
The Cubs and the Padres played in the National League Championship Series. Everyone figured the Cubs were going to win.
High to right, way back, this ball is gone.
We were planning profiles on Cubs and stories about Wrigley Field, these two old ballparks against each other, these two Midwestern Great Lakes cities against each other, and it all came apart.
Pitch on the way to Garvey, hit high to right center field, way back, going, and it's gone! Ground ball hit the dirt, right through his leg! Here comes Martinez, we're tied at 3! In a game that absolutely defies description. Oh, Doctor, you can hang a star on that, baby!
The Fall Classic, SoCal.
San Diego, let's face it, they have some studs. When you got one of the best hitters in the history of the game in Tony Gwynn, and then you got Steve Garvey, Gossage, they had a great team.
Morris back to the mound.
And the left-handed batter, Terry Kennedy, is up and 2 out. There's a line drive into right. It is fair into the corner. One run is home. Here comes Nettles. He is safe at the plate. Padres lead 2-1.
Lance Parrish doubled in the 5th. Starter Mark Thurman facing Larry Herndon.
When we were in our pre-series scout meetings, I asked a lot of questions, but one question I did remember because it happened was that if we're behind Herndon 2-1, 3-1, can we throw him a fastball away and not worry about the ball going out of the park? And they said, yeah, no problem.
Swung out, a fly ball, deep right field. Going back is Gwynn. He's at the track. He's looking. It's gone. A 2-run homer by Larry Herndon. Parrish has scored. Here comes Herndon heading home. The Tigers in front 3-2.
Jack Morris buckled down and showed why he was baseball's preeminent ace of the 1980s.
And he strikes him out away.
Then, a key at-bat late.
Kurt Bevacqua. There's always someone like a Kurt Bevacqua in a World Series.
Fastball is hit inside first and down the line. Bevacqua is on his way for 2. Gibson chasing, they're waving Bevacqua to third. Whitaker to Castillo, they got him.
He stumbled as he rounded second base.
It was unfortunate because the game was 3-2 at time. It was the 7th inning. There were no outs, and you don't get thrown out at third base with no outs.
To me, you know, when I look back at the World Series, that was probably the best play that I had seen the entire series.
Kirk Gibson threw a perfect relay throw, and Lou Whitaker, he heard the crowd, and he knew that I was going to third.
Swing and the ground ball to first base. Bergman has it, makes the play unassisted. The Tigers have won the first game of the World Series.
That's okay. If they want to make me to go to this game, that's fine. I'm going to go out and show everybody what I'm made of. And then game 2 came.
A must-win for the Padres, but a rip-roaring start for Detroit. Bottom 5, 2 runners on.
Get it done, Kurt. Right man in right spot.
Fly ball, got some distance. Rupert Jones is back. It's gone. A 3-run homer for Bevacqua.
Kurt Bevacqua hit the home run, and oops, you know, they're not going to be pushovers.
San Diego's long relief was spectacular.
2 down, 9th inning. High pop fly. A trio of Padres. It will be Wiggins. We'll be in Detroit for game 3 Friday night. We'll see you then. Left to left. That one is gone. A home run. 2-0 lead for the Tigers in the 2nd inning.
Home in Detroit, the Tigers wasted no time getting the upper hand in Game 3. But the Bulldog Padres didn't give in.
Lines it to left. Herndon coming over, and it's off his glove. Gwynn is going to keep on going to third, and he's in there. Into second goes Garvey, and the Padres are in business.
Their catcher can flat out hit. I'll never forget, he hit a ball in center field. If he had a hit in San Diego, it would have been a home run. I ran back.
A drive
to center. Lemon was shallow. It's over his head, and it's behind him, and he caught it anyway. And there's a ground ball to Wiggins. Off-balance throw pulls Garvey off the bag. She swings. There's a drive to left. It's deep. It is way back, and it is gone. A two-run homer by Travel. A 2-0 lead for the Tigers in the first inning. Whitaker wide, but always on base. Breaking ball hit to deep left field. Back goes Martinez. Goodbye. They want him to take a curtain call.
Jack was back in command.
The pitch is on the way. Swing and a miss. Line to right at Gibson.
One win away.
I got called up. I sat a couple games, and I was really anxious to play. All of a sudden, Gossage got up and started warming up. He was the best, most dominant reliever in the game, threw the hardest. Well, I noticed a lot of the guys sitting on the bench jettisoning down the stairs to act like they were going down to the bathroom. And I sized it up and said, dude, I don't want any part of him. And I thought, either do you, but you got a chance to face the best. So I went down in front of Sparky. They had that old wood bat rack there, and I was clanking my bat. And it's like, what do you want, big boy? And I said, I want him. He said, will you be ready? And sure enough, we got a guy on base, and he says, you want a big boy? You go get him.
Man on first, 2 down. Tigers have 1 out left.
He just got on the mound, nodded his head. Strike 1, I fouled it straight back. He got back on. Strike 2, I fouled it right back. Gossage didn't even hardly take signs. He was just rearing back, and I remember the third strike. Right on the black, strike 3. It was over quick. I felt good about going against the best.
And he hits it sharply to Whitaker. Wiggins to the plate. He is out at the plate. Line to right field. Here we go again. And there goes the Michigan State and all of Tigerdom.
The Tigers jumped off fast, but San Diego fought right back. Rusty Coates, Gibson on third.
High pop fly. Wiggins makes the catch, and coming to the plate and scoring is Gibson. Tony Gwynn lost the ball.
This season that had been so incredibly spectacular needed a moment that was going to be equally stupendous at the end.
And Gossage walks Castillo, opening up the bottom of the 8th. A one hopper to Nettles. He's going to go to Templeton. He's off the bag. There's the bunt to Gossage, and he has to throw to Wiggins.
So they were second and third with 1 out, and Gibby comes up.
First base open, and they will walk Gibson, I believe.
Dick gave me the sign to walk him, and I flipped the 4 up to Goose, and Goose shook his head no, and I said, what are you talking about? I pointed at Dick. I said, it's not me. I'm not thinking this up.
I can't believe he changes his mind. I can't believe it.
Gossage said, let's go. I got this. You mean you're talking about striking him out?
Yeah.
If you got 2 guys that would not give in. This is like two big bulls, so they're not getting the horns together.
I stood in that batter's box and looked up there in that upper deck. Looked at Sparky, I'm like, $10 up there, up there. He's like, use your hands, use your hands.
But they are pitching to him. Ball one on Kurt. Here's the pitch. He swings as a long drive to right. And it is a home run for Gibson. A 3-run homer. The Tigers lead it 8-4 in the 8th inning. And Tigers Stadium is going crazy. Comes Herndon, he's there, he's got it. The Tigers are the champions of 1984. The Tigers have won the World Series. They are the champions of the world in 1984.
Mr. President, I know you love those Cubs, but if you knew around these Tigers, you'd love them more.
Introducing the all-new.
The parade is the best part.
What we have here today is the greatest baseball team.
The parade is the best part.
What we have here today is the greatest baseball team in the world.
It brings out that little kid in all of us that remembers that, you know what, there's magic here in life. There's something called hope.
They will not only win this year, they'll win again in '85. Thank you.
There's a drive to George Bell. He's got to come in. He's there. He's got it. The Blue Jays have won it. They've won the Eastern Division Championship.
You know, we were playing in the American League East, and it wasn't easy.
But Sparky Anderson's Tigers had one last dash for greatness in 1987.
His 160th pitch. He got him. 390-mile-an-hour fastball. Madness in Motown.
There's a photo that I have that shows the overhead from the upper deck and left field, and everybody's converging, and you see Lou going to second. And what he's doing is he's pulling second base out of the ground. After that was over and we went into the clubhouse, he signed the bag. He said, "To our MVP, Tramp," and he presented it to me. I have that to this day.
To me, he should have been the most valuable player. You know, I thought just giving him that base was my appreciation for his year.
Lou is a darn good baseball player. He has not gotten the love that he deserves. Lou and I playing, 19 years together. We hold the American League record for games played. We hold the Major League record for double play combination.
Lou, it was an honor and a pleasure to have played alongside you for all those years. And my hope is someday you'll be up here as well.
You know, they always say that the team reflects the personality of the manager in many cases. So what you saw with that team is Sparky Anderson's personality.
One thing I can say that Sparky Anderson, one of the best managers ever in baseball history.
I learned to respect him early on. Then I really started to appreciate him a lot more and grew to love him, just like he was one of my parents.
He was my guy, and a lot of people helped me and deserve credit, but he was my #1 mentor.
If spring training starts and I'm not working, I will be done forever. I will not come back. I'm not one of those that's going to come back out of retirement at 62 years old.
Sometimes Sparky would tell you that he's a phony, that he's an act. And I never knew really exactly how to take that.
Oh, Sparky persona was different. That was an act. That was him on Showtime. But he was George when he was away from the game. He was very shy and quiet. He lived here in Thousand Oaks, his whole life, one house, right up the street from here, where I grew up, right here by CLU.
George, because he was so close to campus, he just lived straight up right over the stadium here, right there where those houses are up there.
He loved the school. He thought it was beautiful.
He just loved being around the kids and loved being around the athletes.
Yeah, pretty amazing to come here as a student athlete here at Cal Lutheran, to have George Sparky Anderson sit in your dugout. He was just George here in town, in Thousand Oaks, at Cal Lu. He was George, but to some of us players, he was Sparky.
He was the greatest person you could be around, and I can't tell you. He loved people. He loved family. We had the most blessed life to be able to call Sparky Dad.
The classic Corktown ballpark, steeped in rich aura, took a final bow in 1999. Enduring idols from the past got one last emotional curtain call. And nobody embodied the blue-collar grit of Detroit more than a supernatural who had taken giant steps off the gridiron into baseball lore.
When Kirk Gibson was a young ball player, he went down and signed his contract. And then he went out into the ballpark and stood at home plate and imagined that he hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth to win an important ball game.
Fly ball, deep, way back, and it is home run! Home run for Gibson in the upper deck in the bleachers. I don't believe what I just saw. That drive, deep to right field. It's back. It's out of there. Tigers win. And it is a home run for Gibson.
Goose Gossage just stared down Kirk Gibson when he hit the home run, rounding the bases. For some reason, I turned my camera vertically, and I come back to the office, and they used the picture on page 1. And it was a nice feeling.
Detroit and the Detroit Tigers and Kirk Gibson, we've all come a long way together, and let's hope that we'll all see this famous pose again. Yeah!
championship.